now we're back at the table again with that reel that I told you guys about. This is the one that's really dirty. I opened it because I wanted to get the main gear out of it to make sure that the main gear was not broken. Just that way, if I had to order more than one or two or three, you know. Anyways, this one was fine, which is good for the customer. So, with this reel, we'll do a little more of the video. I'll get you guys to see a little more of the internal parts of the reel. I'm very particular about cleaning my reels, and I mean, I don't show everything when I do the cleaning because it just takes too much video time. So let's get into cleaning the reel. I mean, opening up the reel and showing you guys a little more about it. Okay. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. We're gonna take all these screws out, which I've already done. As you can see already, the reel's got a lot of yuckiness around it. And that's normal, you know, for all the wear and tear that it does, especially when you're on a boat. You're gonna get a lot of salt water splashing the reel, and you're gonna get a lot of salt into the reel. Now, the thing about these reels that a lot of people that fish with them and don't understand is that they're not waterproof. Water will definitely get into these reels, and salt water is not a good type of water to get into your reel because it will corrode everything and it will ruin your components. You'll lead away at everything, and yeah, it'll be a big mess. So as you can see, this reel has got a lot of old grease. That's the dog. There's the bearing. But it's got a lot of brown grease in it. I guess dirt, salt water, old grease. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna clean it all. And we re-lube and grease everything. So that's what you're looking at right there. There's a variety of different types of oils and greases in there. So I don't know if it was serviced once before, but that's pretty nasty. And that will bog down your reel. Okay. All right, so we're gonna put that aside. I'll clean that on my own time. And okay, we're gonna take the spool out. So we have a lot of string. Recommend, if you're gonna have your reel service, please take the string off. It just causes issues. And plus, you should always change your string, fishing line every year. That way you don't have any problems with old line, especially if you're going out. You don't want to lose any nice big fish. All right. So, okay, right now I got a big mess. I'm trying to fix this. Okay. Just wind that back. I gotta find an elastic. See if I can put an elastic on this. So, give me a second, guys. Oh man. Don't know where I put my elastics. Let me see, maybe. All right, let me get back to you. Trying to get an elastic. Okay. So I found one. Actually, I found 3, but we only need 1. Let's get that one elastic. This looks like a good candidate. Put that aside. All right, like so. Let's get this elastic on because we don't want that to keep coming out and driving us nuts. All right. Guess that's good enough for now. Let me get myself a paper towel. Let's wipe the shaft down a little bit. Let's wipe this part a little bit. A lot of grime in there, old grease. So we want to see what we got going on here with the drag. It's a hand tight, which is nice. You don't need to get that special tool. They also make a special tool for these reels. You can purchase them on eBay. It'd be like $7 or something for shipping and handling. But you don't really need them. Now on the back of this spool, you have this pin. So the grease and grime that's holding this pin down, we're just going to leave it there. And underneath that, there's also a small little plastic washer. If you guys can see it, lift it up a little bit, see it there? Little plastic washer. Make sure you don't lose that washer or the pin. So what you want to do now, take the pin out. Where's my little work tray? I mean, I could put it right in here. I got these little slots I can keep my stuff in. We're going to take that plastic washer and we're going to set it aside right there. Now we're going to unscrew the drag cap. It's clockwise. You go to your right. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to take the drag plate out. Inside the drag plate you have a bearing there, which later we will take out and clean and lube. Now what you want to do is you want to look at your drag. This drag looks pretty good. We're going to remove the drag. Careful though when you take the drag out. This one's in there pretty well. See, take it out. It has a back side to it, so that way if this side gets really worn out, you can just flip it over and use this side. Okay, guys? So we'll set that aside. And here now we have a spring. Oops, be careful with the spring because it will shoot. Then we have a bearing. Okay. And then we go to the back side of the spool where we have these two little screws. And then we have the click gear. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out these two screws here. Be careful, you don't want to lose these screws, they're really tiny. And we're going to remove these screws. So we can remove the click gear like so. So as you can see, opening it, there's some rust. See the brown? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the shaft slowly. And when we do that, we have to be careful because we have a set of washers. We also have a bearing. And now, it's holding this all together here. We also have a pin. There's a pin, a smaller pin than the other one. It's in the shaft here. That's what holds the bearing and these let me see, 1, 2, I think it's just 3 washes. 3, yeah. So you got 3 washes. So that holds the 3 washes. And here's the pin. And that pin goes inside this little shaft piece here. You don't want to lose that. So anyways, if you take that pin out, you want to set that aside, and that will come off. That will take this piece off. There's also 2 other washes in front of that. Okay, so you don't want to lose those washers also. So for now, we're going to just leave that all on, because we don't want to lose any of that. We're going to put the pin back, because later on we're going to do is we're going to clean all this, and we're going to keep it all the same way. Right, like so. So yeah, we'll leave that aside there. That's pretty nasty. As you can see, my fingers, they're brown. That's accumulation of water, old grease, and dirt. And the same thing with the housing, where the clicker is. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll put some light in there for you. That's some brown grease there and dirt, and we're gonna clean that all up also. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this all up, and then I'll get back to you guys. All right, you guys, so now we're gonna assemble it. So we're gonna take the drag, and we're gonna put the drag back in. So you have 2 sides of the drag. You have this side and you have this side. So this side doesn't look too bad. This is the original side. I don't know, we'll just put it in the way it is. It looks fine to me. And if it's worn out and you have no choice, you can just flip it over. You don't have to put any grease on it. It's a dry drag. I'm gonna take the spring. I'm gonna slide the spring down. We're gonna take the the drag plate. We're gonna put that over with the bearing onto the drag, like so. Then we're gonna take the spool, and we're gonna get the pin. Make sure you guys don't lose this little tiny pin. And we're gonna slide that in like so. And we're gonna take the housing, and there's like that little notch there. Make sure that pin is slightly even to just pop right in. Just give it a second or two. It's not easy to put in until it pops in like so. Just give it a little spin. Okay. I usually put this on before, but I didn't. But anyways, I'm gonna take the drag. It's like a cover, and we're gonna pop that on. You want to go counterclockwise to tighten it. I have to pull the spool out a little bit. I like to have it, hand snug like so. Just make sure that's snug in there. Spool is nice and snug into that housing. Now, I'm gonna take the next step. We're gonna go with the side plate. So I put the main gear in, and I put the dog. So when you make sure you got that all set in there like so, what I like to do is I take this little gear here and I like to put it into the spool. Makes it a lot easier for reinstallment. I also greased the main bearing here. So when you have this side plate with the main gear, just make sure that the dog is set correctly. You want to pull and turn to get that click, like so. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the spool of the side plate and the housing, and we're going to take the side plate, we want to make sure that we can click it into the housing, and you want to make sure it's flush, and make sure you hold it down. So you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. You want to put one in. I usually put this one in here first, then I put one here. You can put it in any order that you want. Just make sure you get them in there and you start tightening them down and have them nice and snug. Like so. So I got 2 in. I already greased all these screws that I'm putting in right now. That way it will protect it from corrosion, from the salt or dirt. Make it much easier for you to take it apart. Put a screw in here. Alright, so after you get all the screws in, make sure you get a decent screwdriver that fits in here. Just kind of snug them into like a star type of direction. That way the plate is nice and tight and even, you know. Alright guys, so now we put the side plate on, everything's all snug up. We're going to take these 2 washers. We have a brass washer and a plastic black washer. We're going to put the brass washer first, black washer second, like so. I added a slight little bit of grease to that. So you can do that or you don't have to do that, it's all up to you. Now we're going to take the lever drag plate. We're going to put that on like this. Okay. You're going to have a couple of screws that have the long screws. They go into these little spacers. Okay. We're going to hand tighten them first. That one in. I'm going to get this one in for second. And get a little micro screwdriver. So make sure you guys use your screwdrivers. You want to just get that little snug. Same thing with the other side. Get that nice and snug. And you have a flathead there, screw that goes in the center. You just want to tighten it till it gets nice and snug. You don't want to over tighten it because it'll just strip it. And just like so, nice and snug. Get that little white. Now, we're going to grab our lever drag, or drag lever, sorry. And we're going to put it over our washers here, and we're gonna just kind of grab it and bring it all the way over to the free spool position, and we're gonna hold it. Make sure you hold it, and we're gonna take this pot here that has these little grooves, and these concave grooves in the inside of this drag lever, and we're gonna make sure we put that in, and then we want to kind of just turn it and get it snug in. Make sure you do that so you can feel that it falls into those little slots and it's nice and snug. And make sure you grab it and, you know, test it to make sure it's there. Then you're going to take your tension knob. You're going to put that on like so. And you're going to tighten that down. You don't have to tighten it down all the way, just tighten it down. Okay, so we got the reel back together. So we got the dog inside this reel. Now when you put the handle on and stuff, you gotta be really careful, because what happens is when you push, when you get this little handle plate and you're trying to push the handle plate in, sometimes they're a little tight, and what they'll do is they'll push on the main shaft and they'll push it in, and then the dog will get knocked out. So just make sure you're careful to always keep it out to the right, because if not, then you'll have to keep taking this off until you get it to where you want it. But the reel is in free spool now. It's fine. We're gonna go into strike mode, drag mode. It's working really good. Oops, that's free spool. So if you want, you can tighten down a little more on the drag tension knob. But overall, the reel's working fantastic. Clicker. Oops. Go back into free spool. There you go. That's the TLD 15. Now these reels are fairly easy to work on, but when it comes to the dog, just got to make sure when you put it back together, you keep that. There's like a little piece of the shaft, main shaft that sticks out before you put the handle on. Just make sure you keep it out to your right, because the second it falls over to the left, it's just gonna the dog's gonna drop out, and then you'll have to redo the whole side plate again until you get it. So it's a pain in the butt when it comes to that. Overall, it's a great reel. You can catch a lot of fish with it, big fish, and it's a very reliable reel. All right, guys, hope you liked the video. All right, talk to you guys soon. Take care.